Ian, are you back there because you're going to take students, or you're coming forward?
Yeah, we're headed back into whatever that room is over there.
Yeah, that room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the back right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote this down too.
Thank you. Okay, he did his part.
Middle school, high school,
Dun, 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 dun. The choices that you and I are making today is exactly what's going to shape tomorrow. So how do we make those choices? What do those choices look like? I read this week, Cornell University did a study that said that on an average day, I don't understand this, on an average day, we make 200 and some choices about what we're going to eat, just on our food, just what, 3 meals a day, what are you going to eat, where are you going to eat, I don't know. Columbia University did their business school, said that the average person has to make 70 conscious choices a day. Every day, on average, you and I are making 60 to 70 choices. What you're going to put on, where you're going to go, which way you're going to go to work, are you going to stop for breakfast or not? Are you going to do emails? Which project you're going to work on first? Do you have to return that phone call before you do this? You go through your day, you come home. What am I doing tonight? Am I going to mow the grass? Am I just going to chill? Am I going to scroll? Am I not going to scroll? Am I going to spend time in the Word? Am I going to pray? Am I going to go to a church thing? 70 choices every single day, and so we get tired of making choices. That's where they're headed with that. It just gets exhausting, right? I want to introduce you to it, and I didn't even touch on the big choices, did I? Marriage, career, school. Am I going to try out for, things that are like time-consuming, life-altering, new job. I want to introduce you to this guy. Dr. Art Uline. He's a retired OBGYN. He made history, what's today, the 26th? He made history 2 weeks ago, July 13th. Do you want to know what he did? The choice he made? 90 years old, climbed to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, 19,000 feet above sea level. Tallest freestanding mountain in the world is how USA Today described it on last Tuesday when I read the article. He got to the top on his 90th birthday, and there he had cake and ice cream, and they sang to him, and he wept. The paper reported that when he was 75, his wife was 72. They had climbed the same mountain together. 19,000 feet at age 75, climbing free-standing large mountains. They were asking him what he's going to do next, and he has bought, let's see here, he's going to focus on going downhill skiing. He's bought a ski pass at Deer Valley in Utah, and he plans to take lessons with an 80-year-old instructor. The paper or reporters asked him, why are you doing this? Why? You're 90 years old, dude. You could die up here, literally. Why are you doing this? I thought his answer was interesting. He said, for me, mountains have become a metaphor for my life. Mountains have peaks and valleys, and so does life. Life is about going up and going down. And he says, if you're not willing to climb the mountain, then you're missing so much of your potential. The other thing he said, that the reason that he wanted to do it was, I thought this was interesting. He said, I want to show people what's still possible even as they get older in life. He wanted to be an example for other people. People said, how did you do this? How is it possible you're 90 years old and you're climbing mountains like this? His answer was, he said, I just kept reminding myself all I had to do was put one foot in front of the other. People ask me, how do you climb this mountain? And he said, you do it one step at a time. You put your left foot forward and you put your right foot in front of your left foot, and you do that 50,000 times. That's how you get to the top. Man, what choices are you facing? This whole series has been about what's your Jordan River? What's your Jericho walls? What are the things that you feel like are such an obstacle that's like, oh man, I just don't know. I don't know if God's going to see me through. If you have a Bible, will you open it to Joshua 24? It's a passage that some of us, if you've grown up in church, you probably have heard before. I saw some new stuff here that blew me away this week. Let me read you the passage. Joshua 24, he's got all the people gathered together. It's at the end of his life, okay? It's been about 30 years from when we started Joshua 1 to now, okay? So, see here, I've been in Missouri 26 years, so a little bit longer than the time my family's been in Missouri. He's been doing this campaign and moving people into the promised land, right? In Joshua 24, verse 1, he says he got all the tribes of Israel together at Shechem, and he summoned all the elders, the leaders, the judges, the officials of Israel, and they came and presented themselves before God. So he gets all the leaders up front, and then look at verse 2. And then he says to all the people, so the people kind of fills in behind him, all right? He's got everybody. It's like church today. We got everybody here, okay? So in front of everybody now, here's what he says. He said, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, is going to say to you. Long ago, your forefathers, think your grandfathers, including Torah, the father of Abraham. So he's going to go back to Abraham, which is a big deal for the Jewish people. Abraham's granddad, all right? He said, all these people, it says here, they lived beyond the river, that is the Jordan River, and they worshiped other gods. But I took your father Abraham from the land beyond the river, and I led him throughout Canaan, and I gave him many descendants, think many sons. I gave him Isaac, and to Isaac I gave Jacob, and Jacob Esau. And I assigned the hill country to Seir, to Esau, but Jacob and his sons went down to Egypt. So, because they went down to Egypt, from the story, they got trapped down in Egypt. They spent a lot of time just being hassled by the Egyptians, all right? I afflicted the Egyptians by what I did there, and I brought you out. And when I brought your fathers out of Egypt, you came to the sea. The Egyptians were chasing you with chariots, and they had soldiers as far as the Red Sea, but they cried to the Lord for help, and he put darkness between you and the Egyptians. And he brought the sea over them, and he covered them. And you saw with your own eyes what I did to the Egyptians. And then you lived in the desert for a long time, about 40 years. Why? Because they didn't really believe God, but God still preserved them, even as they were wandering. I brought you out of the land of the Amorites, who lived east of the Jordan, and they fought against you, but I gave them into your hands. I destroyed them from before you, and you took possession of their land. And then he names a couple of the battles that went on there in verse 9. Jump down to verse 11. Then you crossed the Jordan and came to Jericho, and that's where we've been. And the citizens of Jericho fought against you, as did the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites and the Hittites and mosquito bites and just a whole bunch of stuff there. And I gave them into your hands. And I set the hornet ahead of you, which drove them out before you. And also there were 2 Amorite kings. And you didn't do it on your own sword and bow. No, I gave you a land on which you did not toil, and cities you did not build, and you lived in them and eat from the vineyards and the olive groves that you didn't plant. Now, verse 14, he says, fear the Lord and serve him with all faithfulness. Throw away the gods of your forefathers, the ones they worshiped before the river and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. But if serving the Lord seems undesirable for you, then choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve, whether the gods your forefathers served beyond the river or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you're living. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Okay. And then the dialogue continues, and they're like, oh, Moses, that's so cool. We want to do that. And Moses is like, you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to wuss out. You're just going to back out. And he's like, no, we really want to, Moses. I'm sorry, Joshua. We really want to, Joshua. And And he's like, no, he's like, it's just going to really be too hard. You guys are not going to want to do it. You're going to give up at some point. No, we're going to make a promise today. And so they make a promise. And it says there that Joshua put that promise under the oak tree, and he put a stone there, and he said, let this stone serve as a witness. Every time you walk by it, you made a promise today you were going to serve God. Okay, so here's where I am. I'm at a spot of stuck. We come to church and we talk about serving God. I've done this for a long time. I come here, I implore you to serve God, give your heart to God, and you walk out and you're like, oh man, it's so hard. And there are a couple of thoughts that just jumped at me when I think about making this choice, like that just were fresh to me. And so I want to present them to you this morning as to not, because I think if you've grown up in church, you know you're supposed to serve Jesus. So I didn't give you new information there. I think the challenge for us becomes the why. The hard part is the why. Why stay at it? Why stay at it? Why? Because life's hard, right? You got a lot of questions, and you sometimes say, I don't know. Wouldn't it be easier if I? Right? And so one of the things here, the first point, just as if you're looking at your outline, because of what God has done, we have to make a choice. When Joshua gets the people together, he doesn't just start by saying make a choice. He rehearses with them all they've seen God do. It's make a choice based on what you've seen God do. So hear me. If you're watching online, if you're here this morning, if you've not seen God do much in your life, sit this one out. I don't have much to say to you. I'm just being honest. I'm not guilting you. I'm saying you don't have much. But here's where I want to head for some of us, and if you're at home, I would encourage you to do this at home, okay? How many of you did as you were asked, and you wrote something on the piece of paper? And if you didn't, that's okay. It's all right. If you wrote something on the piece of paper, like Ian did, I would, okay, so just, Ryan, will you go, anybody who's written something on a piece of paper, just hold your paper up. Ryan's going to walk around real quick and get it. It's going to take him all 3 minutes to do this. If you have it and you want to, right now, just, I'll collect them too on this side, all right? Here you go. Give me, yep. If you've seen God do something, if somebody were to say to you, hey, I think God's real because, all right, if you're still writing, that's all good. Give me these, all right? Don't want names on them. I don't need names on them. Da, 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 da. Okay, now when you get it finished, pop your hand up because Ryan will go collect them, okay? So, where are my tacks? Da, 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 da. Da, da. Hey, Kirsch, can you give me a hand here real quick? We're just going to put these, just take some of these. There you go. And we're just going to pop these on here. Da, 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 da. In no particular order. They don't have to be pretty. They just need to be thumbtacked in. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, well, we got 2 boards here. I left you 1 board. There you go. Okay. All good, all good. All right. All right. If God, and if you were talking to me, and you told me that God is real, you just believe there's a God, and I said to you, how do you know? And I'm not trying to bait you. I'm trying to just, honestly ask you. You say that you think there's a God. All I'm saying, asking back is like, well, how do you know that? What would you say? Okay? And this is how you've responded, all right? Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Boom, 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 boom. Have we got them all? You got, here's a couple more. Kirsch?
I'm on.
Here, Ryan, come on, grab pins, help us put it up here.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all good. Do. What are you doing, man? Just like, come on over here, put them up.
Well, who had put
There's not like a right or wrong way to do this. This is so hard. This is like really, really hard. Boom. Boom. Is that all of them? Nope, we got a couple more. I'll give you.
I'm qualified. I can do it.
All right. Okay, she's got that. So what's on the board? If we were just saying we have a real conversation, is God real? You tell me he is, based on. So we got answered prayers. I would ask you. I get it's public, but I would ask you, could you really name to me answer prayers? Because some of the stuff, what I want to challenge you a little bit is, it's really easy to give church language. I would ask you honestly, what did you see? You asked God for something. What did you see that God did? I would ask you that. That would be fair, wouldn't it? Okay. But direction, God's work in my life. So my mother-in-law's health, my marriage, always providing for our family. Mom's surgery success, my marriage. He's brought our extended family closer. There's some grace, humility, and friendship. He saved my life from a horrible car crash ×2. I don't normally wear makeup. Looks like I had a strange urge to. I opened my makeup bag, and there's my foundation was spilled. Interesting, okay? 20 plus people helped at the fair, multiple nature moments. Pops a rainbow in the sky when I'm discouraged to remind me, seeing now he has changed my trajectory through people. My mother-in-law's surgery, I got a job. I'm working through sickness, work through sickness, okay? Peter, children's health, job, moved in my kids' life and increased their faith. The thing that struck me with what Joshua did before he ever asked them to serve God was he reminded them, here's what God has done for you. He's fought the battles. Now, here's the thing that one of the thoughts that I had was just like, yeah, but they fought the battles. They had to get their hands dirty. I mean, sure, the walls of Jericho fell, but then they had to go in and conquer the city. Like, you know what I want? God is my witness. He will tell you this. I want God to bring a Brinks truck and a bag just mysteriously appears at the front door. That's what I really want. If you were to just ask me, that's what I would tell you. God says, I want you to go work. I don't want to go work. I just want a bag of money. Right? God says, hey, if you want a great marriage, there are some things you need to do. I don't want to do the things. I just want the benefits of a great marriage. Loving relationship, we're happy all the time. We never have any quarrels. That's what I want. I don't want to go through the trouble of having to say, I'm sorry. I don't want to go through the trouble of having to think about what does my wife need. That sounds like work to me. I would like a great, satisfying job. I'd like a place where I'm excited to go into every day and I'm pumped and enthused and like, oh man, the boss just thinks I'm great. I don't want to put in the effort to maybe come in early or stay late or do my work well. That annoys me. I don't understand why he can't just be happy that I showed up. Isn't that how you feel? Come on, if you were genuinely honest, isn't it you want a life and you're like, bam, and I'm praying to God, and I'm a Christian, and why isn't God doing this stuff for me? And that's what you think. And then when something hard comes, you think, well, where is God? I got this hard thing going on in my life, and God is supposed to be making my life easy, and my life's not getting easier, it's getting harder. Before Joshua ever said, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord, he reminded his house what God had done for them. Here's what I hope. I hope that the really deeper stuff, maybe, you hid because you didn't want to put it on a piece of paper. I did this week. I said, God, you gave us $15,000 in June that we weren't expecting as a church. I have a journal entry where with one of our kids, they went to a foundation, and the foundation paid off their medical debt when they asked. I have in my journal, there were 1, 2, 3, all 3 of the kids who have had children in the past year have had medical stuff that at the moment seems scary, and God brought them through that. I think the hard part for you and I is that we face these battles and we have to fight these battles and fight our way through, and then we wonder why. God, I shouldn't have to fight if you're with me. And what Joshua said to the people was, all that time you were fighting, God was with you. And because God was with you and gave you the victory and has brought you through, now he says that you should fear him. Fear the Lord. Serve him with a whole heart. Fear the Lord simply means that it's not like, it's just more like awe, like a reverence. Like, seriously, when I hear some of you talk about celebrities, I got to meet so-and-so. I got to go to this concert. This ball player signed, and you're like this little thing in your voice. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That's sort of what fear the Lord is. The way that those feelings conjure up in you when you think about a celebrity, just put those on steroids. Joshua says, I want you to fear the Lord. I want you to be in awe of who God is and what he's done. And I want you to serve him faithfully your whole life, the rest of your life. I'm calling you this day to do that. I'm calling you, if you're filling this out, I'm asking you not to give your life to Jesus today because it's the right thing to do. I'm saying if you can look back and see that God has been good to you, why are you wavering? Why do you hesitate? Why do you go, oh man, I'm just not sure God's going to come through for me? Because he's showing you the evidence. He's saying, based on what God has done for you, be in awe. Be willing to serve. Serve is the idea of having a master, having a boss, having someone who tells you what to do. The first point that Joshua would say to you and I is, and I would ask you today, who's your boss? Who's in charge of you? Who calls the shots for your life? Not guilting you. I'm just asking you. Because if you're calling the shots for your life, if you really think it's resting with you, then you've not made the choice to make it God. It's still you. It's still up to you, right? And what Joshua is calling the people to do is to say, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Don't let it be you anymore. Fear the Lord, he says. Serve the Lord wholeheartedly because of what God has done. And that's why I say to you, if you've not seen God work in your life, hear me. You can't do that. This means nothing to you. I'm asking you to do something that's foreign to you. And God maybe is still yet to do some stuff, but if we were to say and talk, you couldn't point to anything. How can you serve God that you don't know? That you would honestly say, I've not seen him do anything. What's the big deal? That's why I can understand it. That's why there's no guilt in my voice. But what I want is maybe to look and see, has God been good to you? Has the Lord been on your side? Could you look back and honestly say, I don't know. Man, that was a tough spot. But you know what? We came through it. How'd you get through it? How'd you get through it? And you could say it was my ingenuity. It was my wisdom. It was my smarts. Okay, all good. But I'm saying there's a call here to look at the goodness of God in your life. And because God has been so good to you, to pull back and say, man, okay, how might I serve him? How might I just make a choice here that he's going to be my God? Jesus is the one who said you can't serve God and money. You can't serve them both. You're only going to have one boss, just one master. Who's going to be the master of your life? That led me to the second thing that just jumped at me. I had never seen this before. I'm being honest. Twice here, he says, throw away the gods of your forefathers. verse 23, he jumps over, and Joshua said to him again, throw away the foreign gods that are among you and yield your hearts to the Lord, the God of Israel. And the people said, okay, we're going to serve the Lord our God, and we're going to obey him. And Joshua said, okay. You said yes. Here we go. I was struck with this. They were living with the foreign idols. They were still among. Here's God doing all this stuff. They're winning battles. They're crossing rivers. They're doing all this cool stuff, and they're still hauling away the idols with them. They've still got these other things. And so I was asking myself, have you got an idol in your house? You may not. That's totally cool. I hope you don't. All right? But it might surprise you if you do. Tim Keller, here's in his book, Counterfeit Gods, here's how he defines a modern-day idol. An idol is something that we look for things that only God can give. Most people think of idols as like, okay, in the Bible, there are these wooden graven things, right? But what are the things in your life that you want? Spit them out from you. What are things in life that people want? Status. You just want to be, what do you mean when you say status?
Like power, influence.
Feeling important, right? Okay. What else? Money. People want money. You want wealth. You don't want to worry about how you're going to pay the bills. I get that. What else? What other idols might be out there? How about your reputation? It's a little different than the status and the power, but you want to be well thought of. You want the approval. Some of you want the approval of your friends. That means the world to you, and you know it, you get crushed when you don't have it. Okay? Well, other idols that might be out there is we said the job status was there. Leisure, sex can be an idol for some people. Pleasure. Whatever gives you pleasure, that's what you're living for. See, what Keller's saying is the idols today aren't like this little calf, this little statue, whatever. They're the things that we think are going to make us happy. He said that's one definition of it. He said, number 4, he says, what's an idol? It's anything more important to you than God. Anything that takes your heart and your imagination away from God and onto something else. We think that idols are bad things, but that is almost never the case. The greater the good, the more likely we are to expect that it satisfies our deepest needs and hopes. I thought that was so what's he saying? Is it wrong? Is it wrong to want people like you? Because I can be a jerk. You could go around being a jerk, and no one's going to like you. And like, oh, I just don't want that idol. It's not wrong to want people like you. Is it wrong to want to be fulfilled? To feel like your life matters? There's nothing wrong in that. Is it wrong to want to know that your bills are going to be paid? Oh, we as a church, we just love living week to week. It's so cool. You know, we get to see God provide every week. Isn't that great? Is it wrong to want to know that there's a certain amount of, you've got resources to pay bills? That's not wrong. So, Mike, what's wrong in it? Here's the rub. What's wrong is when that becomes what's most important to you. When you would rather live to have that need met than to meet with God, than to have God at home in your life, than to feel like, God, I would love to have the bills met, but what I want more is that, Jesus, you would be real in my life and I would trust you for what I need today. I want the approval of people. I want people to like me. But if people liking me, I skirt the truth and I don't tell you and I don't say hard things. Do you want your kids to like you? Parents, you want your kids to like you? You're a fool if you say no. You really are. You want your kids to like you. Does that mean you won't tell them the truth? Are you going to want their approval more than skirting, telling them hard things when they need to hear them? I don't think so, right? You get that. See, but some people live their life wanting the approval of others and won't say anything hard. I don't want to cause a stir. And so, boom. Is it wrong to want pleasure, to relax, to chill? Not at all. But if that becomes everything that's driving you, that becomes your idol. When that becomes more important to you than Jesus being at home in your life and you trusting him, that becomes your idol. And I was like, wow. Joshua twice says to these people, put them away, surrender your heart, throw them away. Here's what I would ask you. If you've seen God do this stuff, why would you live after comfort, pleasure, money, sex, job status? If God has been real to you and you've seen the Lord doing stuff, why would you settle for a lesser God? And do you want to know why you would? Because I can see that. I can touch that. I can talk to that. If someone cusses me out because I said the wrong thing, I feel that pain immediately. This is like, man, God is my witness. How hard was it for you to come up with stuff? How much stuff do you have that you didn't say? And see, doesn't that become our challenge? You know, a year ago March, I think I remember God did something. Last week, someone didn't like what I did at work. I took a stand and they blasted me, and then they told HR, and now I got to answer for it. That just feels like, that's the challenge, isn't it? We've got a short view. We see these things, we touch them, they hit us, and they're like, oh man, I got to give that, and we don't see God every day. And Joshua would just say, would you just remember the Lord? Would you remember what God has done, what he's brought you through? Don't serve other things. Don't settle for less. It's a choice to remove the idols in your life. That is a decision you and I have got to do. We've got to give up control. We've got to release the control. We've got to refuse to, as it says here, defend and make it about my job title. How many of you call me Pastor Mike? God is my witness. I don't like it. I don't like it. Because that's my job. That's not who I am. I've never wanted to be called Reverend. That's not a big deal to me. I am ordained. I never use it unless it's your marriage license, because I think, maybe one day you'll need it. Well, who was the yokel that married you? It's okay, I've been ordained, all right? But I rarely use Reverend. Pastor is it's my title. But I don't live with that title. I'm Mike. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. I'm a guy out here in the community just like one of you guys. Right? But man, when we get these things and we get wrapped up in how people see us, that can consume us. And so this is really a test of our loyalty. And if you're following the news at all, you understand what a test of loyalty is. That becomes the mark. Are you loyal? Are you one of us? And God would just say, man, everything because of what I've done for you. Will you be loyal to me? I've been loyal to you. I've had your back, the Lord would say. Will you serve me? Which led me to the third observation that I made from the text, right? Is then he calls them to influence those around us. So as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Joshua says, okay, because of me, because this is the stand I'm taking, this is what my home is going to be like. So, Patty's here. We didn't have to say it often, but we have said in our house, this is the way, do you remember? I know I've said it. This is how we're going to do it in my house. And when you have a house, you do it the way you want. Yeah, thumbs up in the back. So what did that mean for us? It meant we were going to go to church together as a family. And sometimes my kids balked. And I would say to them, when it's your house, you can do whatever you want. But we're going to church together as a family. That's not a guilt thing. I'm just telling you, there are practical implications if you say, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. I'm not going to hammer this. I'm just going to tell you how it honestly has worked, right? My kids know I won't pay for their alcohol tab. That's something on me. And so I've said it, and we've said. And when there was a wedding, we've said, I don't care if they drink. I'm just not going to pay the bill. I'll pay for the food. Well, Warman, you're splitting hairs? No, because I sort of have like a thing, like I just don't think that's a healthy thing to do. That's Warman. Okay? I don't care if you drink. I'm just not going to pay your alcohol bill. As for me and my house, we're setting parameters. We've got, here's what it looks like for us. What's it look like for you? Where he's driving at is, what are your values? What will your home be known for? When people think of your house, when people think of your line right there that you've got, what will come to mind? That's what he's saying. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. That's what we're going to do. And the greatest challenge I have now is using my influence on still my children, because they have kids now. And if I want to influence my grandchildren, I need to not check out and say, oh, I raised my kids. My job's done. No, it's not. Where'd you get that message? You didn't get it from here. You still are a person of influence. At your place of work, you're still a person of influence. You know what I've noticed as a baseball umpire? It's just anecdotal evidence. I've been in situations on a basketball court and a baseball court when the F-bomb starts flying and everybody's using the F-bomb. I just pick up. Yep, it's real easy. Lets it flow. Right? If this is just one or two of us and I'm not using the F-bomb, that only leaves you. I've noticed the conversation changes because of the way that I communicate. I'm just saying, do not undersell the influence you have. You know you've got it with your kids. Do you think you have influence with your kids? Here's what I think you think. While they're little, I've said, while they're little, I can make them do whatever I want. But when they get to be teens? Oh, man. What happens when they get to be teenagers? Right? They don't listen to me anymore. They don't listen to me anymore. They might not listen to you, but what are they doing? They're watching. Yeah, maybe they quit listening, but they're watching. How did you handle that argument? Did you blow up at them? Lose your cool? Were you harsh? Stay even keel? They're watching. You've got a legacy. You've got values. There are things that are important to you, and what you're saying, as for me and my house, because what we've seen God do, we're going to serve him. That's just what we're committed to. And when you get to have your home, you can do it the way you want. And I pray to God that you might serve him the way that I've served him. I can't make you. I'm always going to be there. I'm going to use whatever funds, time, resources I have to encourage. That's what God's done for me. That's the kind of person I want to be for you. If you were to look at my journal, my daily journal, in January of this week, January this year, I put two phrases up that every week I've copied over and over and over. One is to add value. So I see it every week, add value. Be helpful. The other is to bring joy. That's what every week for this year, I've wanted to add value to people's lives. I want to bring joy. Why? Oh, because I'm a pastor, I'm a goody person. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Has nothing at all to do with that. I just told you that doesn't mean that much to me. What matters is I've seen God do this. And God has brought joy to me and my family. And God has added value to me and my family. And because he's done that for me, I want to pass that on. Ryan and Kirsten are going to come back up. Because of what God has done for us, you're asking and answering the question, this is who we are. This is how we're going to live. So we're going to sing this song, Goodness of God. I mess with like doing like an altar call. That just, that's just not us. Stand up if you really want to be serious with God. Here's what I want. Because ultimately it's between you and the Lord. And He sees your heart. He sees my heart. If as we sing this song, there's anything that resonates in you where you think God has been good to you, and you today would like to just say to Him, God, because you've been good to me, as for me and my influence, I want to serve you. That's your challenge. You guys lead us. We're going to walk out of here and we're going to go into life. I don't know what's on people's plates, but I know that you know. Some are still dealing with stuff, Father. Genuine hurdles, hurts, griefs, pains. Father, I'm asking that you would help them to continue to lean on you and your strength, not try and do it themselves. Father, I pray that as we, just this week, the next 5 or 6 days, we'd be very, very mindful of what you've done in our life to give you credit for it. And may that give us confidence that for the next thing that comes our way, we'll just simply say, I know God, I don't know how, but God's gotten me through thus far. And we'll trust you to get us through the next bit. Pray for VBS this week. Father, we just ask that not only would this place be filled with joy, but that there would be a sense where kids would come to know Jesus as Savior, or maybe there would be some homes where the influence begins to spread through the child. That's what we pray. There just would be just a great time. Pray you protect those who are working, protect the weak. It would be, we give it to you, Lord Jesus. It's in your name that we pray. Thank you. Amen. God bless you. Go. Have a good week. We'll see you soon.